What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe. We have our guy, Nick Underhill. Nick, what's up, man? How you doing today? Are y'all out of practice today? What's the schedule like? Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah, practice at
there you go.
Go ahead. Now talk.
all right, we got practice today at 10:30. So yeah, we'll get out there, get a look. It's the last OTA, and then in a few weeks or next week we got mini camp 3 days in a row. So almost done with the summer evaluation.
Okay, so what are you most looking forward to getting eyeballs on today?
It's just kind of trying to piece everything together. I mean, these aren't like big viewing windows, so it's kind of the same things every week. So it's just trying to see more and more. Like, I feel like I haven't even seen Isaiah Foskey yet, just looking at him. And you're not going to see much this time of year, but like a guy like that, I want to get a look at. Like, I really kind of believe in Jordan Howden at this point. I think he's someone that's going to compete. DeMarco Jackson has been really impressive in the 2 days that we've seen him. It's 2 days, but I think he's starting to answer some questions. So I want to see more of that. Maybe just a better look at him in coverage. And there's a handful of other guys. Adrian Fry, like, is a UDFA cornerback, someone that's kind of stood out to me a little bit over the first 3 times that we've seen him. So it's just kind of trying to figure out like maybe who some of the long shot guys are that could have a chance to make the team, and then just getting a better look at some of the newcomers.
I know Tripp wrote about the other day maybe some potential specialness. That's why I'm not a writer. Growing in that Saints defensive backfield, but I would ask you about Rasheed Shahid. It seems like everybody that we talk to that's had eyes on practice continues to sing Rasheed Shahid's praises. Is like, I guess, how do I want to ask this? Where should expectations be for Shahid here in year number 2?
Yeah, look, I'll say this. Like, this is the time of year, I think, where second-year receivers like always really stand out ahead of everybody else. And then in the last practice, you go and look at who wasn't there, and the starting quarterbacks weren't there. So going against guys that are new to the system, trying to figure out how to fit in the defense and everything. And a lot of times in those mismatches, it does favor the second year guy. And that's usually when we go back, like if you went and looked at like all the hype beasts from this time of year, they're all second year wide receivers going against guys that are new to the secondary this time of year. But I do think that he looks better, and they're moving him around. I talked to him. He said that his role this year is going to be primarily in the slot. So I think that's kind of interesting too. There's some mismatch potential there. Get him on some safeties and linebackers every now and then if you can. And I think he's going to eat those guys up. And I think he's just going to get more polished and better at what he's doing. He talked openly last year about just not knowing what his role was really supposed to be on offense and like trying to get up to speed every single week. Like actually maybe knowing what you're doing now paired with his talent, and then, you know, a better vision for how to use him, because he was coming back from that ACL last year too. So it was kind of just slow going the whole entire summer and then thrown to the fire. So I just think the comfort and everything is going to help him look good. Reasonable expectations. I think 700 yards is probably where I'd set the over under. If you asked me to do it today, the way we talk about him, it kind of sounds like maybe he's going to go for 1,400. I think 700, and if he's a little above it, I think is a good place to put it.
Hey, Nick, I want to go back to the defense side of the football. DeMarco Jackson, he is somebody that coming out of App State, absolutely loved. He was an All-American. I don't think people realize that, and I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did in the draft. I saw a stat. He's the only FBS player in the 2000s that had a season that included 120 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and 6 passes broken up. I mean, it's a very versatile linebacker, and I feel like he gets a little lost in the shuffle when we start talking about linebacker, and that's an issue for the Saints. But you have a guy in Jackson that was hurt last year. Like, what can you realistically expect from him?
Yeah, so I went and I rewatched his senior season this weekend, just going over, trying to get a better feel for him, because I feel like he has been really overlooked. And like, man, the stuff downhill is really, really good. He is really fast into the backfield, really good instincts, sees the field well, makes a lot of plays. I think his blitzing ability is something that I personally overlooked coming into the league. He was really good on those. There was a lot of pressures, and it was just kind of like him going. Like, it wasn't super designed. Like, he was just kind of getting there. I think in this scheme with DA designing that stuff, some of the stuff they did for Caden Ellis last year, I think there's some sack potential there for him to get on the field. it's going to be really interesting for me because I think the battle, like if you have an injury to Werner or DeMario Davis, I think it's very easily Jackson going in. But I think there is a battle there for that Sam spot too in some of those snaps, especially in those third down packages. And I think a lot of people assume those are automatically going to go for Bond because he does have that pass rush profile. But if Jackson can show you that he can do that, and then you pair it with, moderate coverage ability, I think seeing him in man-to-man is something I need to figure out a little bit more about. But if he can cover a little bit, I think it's much easier to get him on the field on third down, and he might be able to give you that same blitzing ability. I think he has a chance to be a really good third linebacker for this team. Like, we aren't talking about him like replacing or being the DeMario heir apparent or anything like that yet, but like a really good reserve / Sam linebacker. I think there's a chance for him to really actually be in that role this year. And I feel a lot better about the depth after seeing him on the field than I did this summer when it was like number one on my priority list.
New Orleans Football is a site. You have to go check it out. There's nowhere better to keep up with the New Orleans Saints if you are a New Orleans Saints fan. We got Nick Underhill. We got Mike Triplett on the squad, building an excellent team, hiring. Nick, do you want to plug your hire? What I saw it this morning, looking for a videographer or something?
Oh yeah, we just took a guy out NBA today, so from ESPN. Well, so yeah. Sorry, ESPN.
Never mind. Okay, never mind, guys. It's filled. But the point is, the team is growing over there at New Orleans Football, and you should go sign up. I'm a happy subscriber for years now. Nick, a lot of times I like to ask questions, conversations that I've kind of already had, but I like it filtered through other takers' lenses. And so I'll end on this. What was your take on bringing Jon Gruden in to kind of help with, seeing what Derek Carr does well, what kind of positions Gruden used to put him in? How do you kind of evaluate it all?
I mean, the football aspect of it makes sense. I think he's somebody that does a lot of things that the Saints need to do better. Like, their motion last year was horrible. And Jon Gruden, someone that really understands how to use motion. He knows Derek Carr. I think there's a lot of things that he can bring and impart some knowledge. I think the human being, I think there's some issues with that. I wouldn't want to be the people fully rehabilitating that person, but I think using him for a 3-day window, bringing him in at his lowest point, taking his knowledge and getting him out of there is great. But I just think, frankly speaking, like, I don't know what kind of work Jon Gruden is doing on himself as a human being. So, I don't want to get too deep into that, but like, until, not being able to see that side of it, like him being like an actual leader of men, is something that I don't think that he should have that privilege until, that stuff gets all cleared up, and I haven't seen it. So it's tough to judge it. So yeah, I think there's a moral issue there, but I think the way the Saints use him, I think it's okay as long as he's not like on the coaching staff, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be. Yeah,
it kind of, in a way, it does kind of feel like the beta test, like the soft relaunch of Gruden into the football atmosphere. It's kind of dipping the toe in the water, and then I'm sure he'll end up somewhere. Like we joked about the other day, he's going to be an LSU offensive analyst. Finally. All the Jon Gruden to LSU rumors are going to come true, boys. Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.